There's going to be a little bit of an echo in the background, but I need to make sure that my microphone is working. Let me turn up the music. Sorry about the echo for a second. I gotta wait on my other computer and see if the microphone works. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? Happy Thanksgiving. If you're in North America, today is Thanksgiving, so yay, hooray. I have the turkey in the oven. I had to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to put it in the oven, so that's always good, fun stuff. I've already made a mess of my kitchen accidentally. That's always fun. Have you had any Thanksgiving or holiday mishaps yet this year? Like this holiday season, I guess the year's almost ending now, so I guess, you know, this holiday season, have you had any mishaps yet? Please let me know in the comments down below or in the live chat room, so that way I feel a little less ridiculous that I've already made a mess of my kitchen. So how is everybody this morning? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Daily Greens. I'm Little Green Kitty. As always, we have our live chat going. If you would like to join us in the mornings and discuss what we're talking about, then you're more than welcome to. You can check us out at thedailygreens.org to find all of the sources and links that we're going to be talking about today. You can follow us on Twitter at dailygreensnips is our handle. And you can also like and subscribe. That way you don't miss any of our content when we come out with it. And make sure you hit the little notification bell, because sometimes YouTube is really bad about even putting videos that you are subscribed to, channels you're subscribed to, putting their videos in your subscription feed or on your homepage. So make sure that you hit the notification bell. That way you know whenever we come out with a video. Alright, so this morning, as the title of this stream says, we're going to be talking about bacteria-covered fish. The FDA, I was going to say the USDA, I think it's the FDA, has issued an injunction against a company from being able to sell like any of their fish products without getting like secondary approval and without going through other things, because they've already tried to tell this company plenty of times before, like, yo, your fish balls are dirty, guys. You need to clean your fish balls. And they've been like, nah, we like our dirty fish balls. Which I was very tempted to name this stream like just dirty fish balls, because I think that would have been hilarious. Anyway, okay, let me figure out what view I want to get to here. Alright, I know you can see me. Sorry about that. So all of our sources, all of our links are right here. You can find them by going to thedailygreens.org, and you will see this web page, and you just scroll down and you will see this post, morning show links dated today. And this will have all of the links that we are talking about, and some of these links are included in some of our other press release posts that we do. But I just went ahead and did another post here, that way that they are easy to find, and I will try to go back after the stream and add these into the description box as well for you guys. Okie dokie. So, okay, I already have them pulled up here. I'm sorry, it's morning time and it is Thanksgiving, you guys. So my brain is not here. It is not here. Okay, so before we get into our fish bacteria story, I want to touch on a few other things. First, there has been a former CIA officer sentenced for conspiracy to commit espionage. Dun dun dun. Okay, let's get to a bigger focus for you. Okay, a former Central Intelligence Agency case officer was sentenced today to 19 years in prison for conspiring to communicate, deliver, and transmit national defense information to the People's Republic of China. In just over a year, we have convicted 3 Americans for committing espionage offenses on behalf of the Chinese government. Each has now received a sentence of at least a decade, said Assistant Attorney General for National Security John C. Demers. Sadly, all 3 of them are former members of the U.S. intelligence community. These convictions and sentences should send a strong message to current and former security clearance holders. Be aware that the Chinese government targets you, and if you betray us, be aware that the Department of Justice will hold you accountable. According to court documents, Jerry Chun-Ching Lee, 55, left the CIA in 2007 and began residing in Hong Kong in April 2010. 2 Chinese intelligence officers approached Lee and offered to pay him for national defense information he had acquired as a CIA case officer. The IOs also told Lee they had prepared for him a gift of $100,000 cash, and they offered to take care of him for life in exchange for his cooperation. Beginning sometime in May 2010 and continuing into at least 2011, Lee received requests for information or taskings from these Chinese IO. The majority of these taskings asked Lee to reveal sensitive information about the CIA, including national defense information. On May 14, 2010, Lee made or caused to be made a cash deposit of 138,000 Hong Kong dollars, approximately equivalent to 17,000 plus US dollars, into his personal bank account in Hong Kong. This would be the first hundreds of thousands of dollars U.S. equivalent, in cash deposits Lee made or caused to be made into his personal HSBC account from May 2010 through December 2013. On May 26, 2010, Lee created on his laptop computer a document that described, among other things, certain locations to which the CIA would assign officers with certain identified experience, as well as the particular location and time frame of a sensitive CIA operation. After Lee created this document, he transferred it from his laptop to a thumb drive. The document included national defense information about the United States that was classified at the secret level. In August 2012, the FBI conducted a court-authorized search of a hotel room in Honolulu, Hawaii, registered in Lee's name. The search revealed that Lee possessed the thumb drive within his personal luggage. The FBI forensically imaged the thumb drive and later located the document in the unlocated space of the thumb drive, meaning that it had been deleted. And if you have not been aware previously, on thumb drives, if you try to delete the information, it is still contained within there. This is not the first time that we have heard about the FBI or other intelligence agencies being able to root out people that have had programs or software on thumb drives and have tried to delete them. I will link down in the description box below after the stream another video about a whistleblower that was working for the government, and he tried to put files and software on a thumb drive and tried to delete them, and and these people are official. You would think that they would know what they're doing with, having CIA experience and everything, but even they make these mistakes, and the government is able to get that information. The search also revealed that Lee possessed a day planner and an address book that contained handwritten notes made by Lee that mostly related to his work as a CIA case officer prior to 2004. These notes included, among other things, intelligence provided by CIA assets, true names of assets, operational meeting locations and phone numbers, and information about covert facilities. That is a lot of very, very valuable information. That is very valuable stuff. Mr. Lee served as a CIA officer and was entrusted with extremely sensitive national security information, and he broke that trust with no regard for the consequences. During 2012, Lee had a series of interviews with the CIA. Throughout these interviews, in response to questions about what the IOs had wanted from him, Lee intentionally failed to disclose that he had received taskings from them. In May 2013, the FBI conducted multiple interviews with Lee. During one of those interviews, Lee admitted that he had received taskings, but stated that he had not kept the written request because they would tend to incriminate him. The FBI interviewers also confronted Lee with a sensitive document discovered on the thumb drive. Lee falsely denied that he possessed it, claimed not to know who created it, and denied knowing why it would be on his computer. He worked for the CIA. You would think he would know, dude, if they're asking you about it, they already know. They already know. Okay, if the CIA, if they're like, hey, so what about this file on your computer? And you put it there, they're asking you because they know you put it there. Okay? They have skills. They were able to get the file after you deleted it from your thumb drive. Okay, alright, let's keep going. I'm sorry, this is, people, come on. In a January 2018 interview with the FBI, Lee falsely denied that he ever kept work-related notes at home. When shown a photocopy of the front covers of the day planner and address book described above, as well as a copy of his handwriting therein, Lee falsely denied that he possessed the notebooks while transiting through Hawaii in August 2012. Lee also falsely denied that either of the books contained notes from asset meetings, but conceded that any such notes would be classified. Further, Lee falsely denied that he ever put the sensitive document on the thumb drive, notwithstanding the fact that he had admitted having done so when interviewed by FBI agents in May 2013. That got very kind of amusing towards the end. Okay, so there is that story. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and the little thumbs up, guys, so that maybe the algorithms will help push out the story and we can all be amused by these very intelligent former CIA operatives. Okay, so our next story is going to be the Department of Justice announced update to policy on use of unmanned aircraft systems. We might be doing another special video on this specifically because I do want to go through this in depth. But I'm just going to read quickly through the press release right now. The Justice Department announced today the publication of its updated policy on the use of unmanned aircraft systems. In light of advancements in unmanned aircraft system technology and lessons learned from the Federal Bureau of Investigation's limited use of UAS, the policy enables the Department of Justice's law enforcement components to safely and responsibly employ UAS technology within a framework designed to provide accountability and protect privacy and civil liberties. The policy permits the use of UAS only in connection with properly authorized investigations, and Department of Justice components anticipate using UAS to support crime scene response and investigation, search and rescue, and site security, among other authorized uses. In order to ensure accountability and airspace safety, the department requires UAS operations to be approved at an appropriate level and conducted by personnel who meet department-wide training standards. Importantly, the new policy also requires components to evaluate UAS acquisitions for cybersecurity risks, guarding any potential threats to the supply chain and DOJ's network. So, as I said, we will probably do another video specifically on that. But pretty much what's going on and what has happened is they have updated a policy to actually have it legal, excuse me, for law enforcement to be able to use drones pretty much. Unmanned aircraft systems is UAS, that's what that stands for. So they are now legal to be used by law enforcement for surveillance purposes or whatever else they, deem as law enforcement-y, so that way they can find who they're looking for. And they actually do have stipulations about how long the data is kept and being able to involve outside shareholders or stockholders, I believe is how they worded it. So we're probably going to be doing a whole nother video on all of that because it is a little bit concerning, at least to me. It's at least something to be aware of, that they are now going to be able to, fly things around and provide wonderful surveillance for the government, It's wonderful government services that keep us all safe and happy, right? Okay, so our story about the fish bacteria. This really, really grossed me out. I have gross pictures to show and everything. All right, a district court enters injunction against New York company and corporate officials to prevent adulteration of food products. The Department of Justice announced today that the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of New York entered an injunction against Fu Yuan Food Products Company Incorporated of Long Island City, New York. Its owner and president, Sing Shuang, I don't know how to say his name, I'm sorry, and its secretary, Susan Shuang, I don't know how to say their name, I'm sorry. The injunction permanently enjoins the defendants from preparing, processing, and distributing food products without first taking required remedial action designed to protect consumers from adulterated fish and fishery products. The injunction stems from a complaint the department filed in the U.S. District Court of the Eastern District of New York in August 2018 at the request of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The complaint alleges that the defendants prepare, pack, hold, and distribute refrigerated and frozen ready-to-eat fish balls, fried fish cakes, and fried fish balls. According to the complaint, the defendants failed to adequately control the risk of Clostridium botulinum and Listeria monocytogenes. I don't know how to say it. Growth and toxin formation in susceptible fish and fishery products. Those long Latin words, you got to sit and you got to look at it for a second before you can pronounce it, you know. The Department of Justice is committed to enforcing federal laws designed to ensure food safety. The defendants' failure to respond to the serious allegations in the government's civil complaint was in keeping with their failure to follow FDA regulations in place to protect the public from adulterated fish products. The district court's order permanently enjoins defendants from preparing, processing, and distributing food products without first taking the extra actions that they mentioned. Okay, the FDA observed a failure to maintain the cleanliness of food contact surfaces and failure to ensure that all persons working in direct contact with food contact surfaces, and food packing materials conform to hygienic practices to protect against food contamination. Okay, so quick while I take a sip of coffee. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And hit the like button too, please. We would much appreciate it. Pardon my need for coffee. Okay, so the nasty pictures. So the bacteria that they mentioned, botulinum and Listeria. Okay, botulism. Have you guys ever heard of botulism? Botulism is that very serious thing that people used to die of a long time ago, back when they didn't know as much about keeping certain kinds of bacteria out of food and how to stay clean. So this is from the World Health Organization. It says Clostridium botulinum is the bacterium that produces dangerous toxins under low oxygen conditions. Botulinum toxins are one of the most lethal substances known. Botulinum toxins block nerve functions and can lead to respiratory and muscular paralysis. Human botulism may refer to foodborne botulism, infant botulism, wound botulism, and inhalation botulism or other types of intoxication. Foodborne botulism caused by consumption of improperly processed food is a rare but potentially fatal disease if not diagnosed rapidly and treated with antitoxin. Homemade canned, preserved, or fermented foodstuffs are a common source of foodborne botulism, and their preparation requires extra caution. So I am sure, especially people that are in more of the truther or the off-grid kind of community, they do a lot of canning, and if you have ever watched any of their videos or been interested in that, you will hear them talking about how you need to keep certain things clean and sanitize stuff. Now when you make fermented foods, sometimes it's a little bit different. You don't have to keep things quite as clean, because if you keep the oxygen completely out, then it's fine, but as they said, they can live in low oxygen conditions. So even when you're making fermented goods, you still have to be very careful about, making sure that the kinds of bacteria that are growing are the good kind and not the bad kind. And botulism, I should have pulled up some. I need more coffee. I don't know what's wrong with my voice today. I'm sorry. I should have pulled up some really nasty pictures for you guys of people in the old days being sick from botulism, because that was the thing that people died from a lot. They still do. Okay. Botulinum toxins are neurotoxic and therefore affect the nervous system. Foodborne botulism is characterized by descending flaccid paralysis that can cause respiratory failure. Early symptoms include marked fatigue, weakness, and vertigo, usually followed by blurred vision, dry mouth, and difficulty in swallowing and speaking. Vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, and abdominal swelling may also occur. The disease can progress from weakness in the neck and arms, after which the respiratory muscles and muscles of the lower body are affected. There is no fever and loss of consciousness. C. botulinum, which is the kind that was found on the fish, is an anaerobic bacterium, meaning it can only grow in the absence of oxygen. Oh, so it's not even just low oxygen, it can grow in the complete absence of oxygen. Foodborne botulism occurs when C. botulinum grows and produces toxins in food prior to consumption. C. botulinum produces spores, and they exist widely in the environment, including soil, river, and seawater. The growth of the bacteria and the formation of toxin occur in products with low oxygen content and certain combinations of storage temperature and preservative parameters. This happens most often in lightly preserved foods and inadequately processed home-canned or home-bottled foods. It will not grow in acidic conditions, and therefore the toxin will not be formed in acidic foods. However, a low pH will not degrade any preformed toxin. Good to be aware of. And this is Listeria. This is the other bacteria that they found on the fish. Now, I've heard about botulism before from like stories about the old days and, Little House on the Prairie kinds of things. But Listeria is something that is still very common in even the U.S. There are outbreaks of Listeria quite often, and it isn't always harmful to just average people, but if you are pregnant, if you are elderly, if you have other immune issues, then it can be very serious. So we're going to read a little bit about this. Listeriosis is a serious infection usually caused by eating food contaminated with the bacterium Listeria monocytogenes. An estimated 1,600 people get listeriosis each year, and about 260 die. The infection is most likely to sicken pregnant women and their newborn, adults age 65 or older, and people with weakened immune systems. Now, I actually worked, here's a little bit of trivia for you. I worked as a restaurant manager for 6 years, and Listeria is something that we did need to be aware of, because if there were extra outbreaks and stuff, we would have a lot of pregnant women coming in wanting to eat our food, and sometimes we would mention to them, like, do you want us to cook certain things extra? Do you want us to prepare it a different way in case there is any, possible Listeria? And oftentimes they would, because there are things that you don't think about that might be dangerous to eat when you're pregnant. And then if you are going and eating something that should otherwise be safe, and then it's not because it is contaminated with Listeria, that is very, very dangerous. Listeriosis can cause a variety of symptoms depending on a person and the part of the body affected. Listeria can cause fever and diarrhea similar to other foodborne germs, but this type of Listeria infection is rarely diagnosed. Symptoms in people with invasive listeriosis, meaning the bacteria has spread beyond the gut, depend on whether the person is pregnant. Pregnant women typically experience only fever and other flu-like symptoms, such as fatigue and muscle aches. However, infections during pregnancy can lead to miscarriage, stillbirth, premature delivery, or life-threatening infection of the newborn. Symptoms can include headache, stiff neck, confusion, loss of balance, and convulsions, in addition to fever and muscle aches for people other than pregnant women. People with invasive listeriosis usually report symptoms starting 1 to 4 weeks after eating food contaminated with Listeria. Some people have reported symptoms starting as late as 70 days after exposure or as early as the same day of exposure. This is very important stuff. Let's look at diagnosis and treatment quickly. Listeriosis is usually diagnosed when a bacterial culture, a type of laboratory test, grows Listeria monocytogenes from a body tissue or fluid, such as blood, spinal fluid, or the placenta. It is treated with antibiotics. So if you have this, then you would need to go to the doctor for antibiotics. And obviously botulism, you definitely need to go to the doctor for. So this took a little bit of looking around and poking around because I was trying to find a picture of the company to be able to show you guys, and I couldn't find a picture of the company. Address and stuff right here. This is the letter that who is this from? The FDA, Department of Health and Human Services, Food and Drug Administration, yes, sent to the company. It says, we inspected your seafood processing facility located at 2301 Borden Avenue, Long Island City, New York, on October 14th, 15th, and 20th, 2014. We found that you have serious violations of the Seafood Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point Regulation, Title 21, Code of Federal Regulations, Part 123. In accordance with 21 CFR, failure of a processor or fish or fishery products to have and implement a HACCP plan that complies with this section or otherwise operate in accordance with the requirements of Part 123 renders the fish or fishery products adulterated within the meaning of Section 402. Lots of legal jargon. You must conduct a hazard analysis to determine whether there are food safety hazards that are reasonably likely to occur and have an HACCP plan that, at a minimum, lists the critical control points to comply with their little law thing. Your firm's HACCP plan for fish balls does not list a critical control point for cooking to control the food safety hazard of pathogen growth and toxin formation. Once your firm has included the cooking critical control point, FDA recommends that your HACCP plan include critical limits associated with the cooking process established by a scientific study that will ensure a minimum of 6 log reduction of Listeria. Your firm's plan for fried fish balls does not list a critical control point. Your firm's plan for fish balls and fried fish balls does not list another critical control point. So they keep repeating this over and over again for the different items, and then they do talk about the pH and stuff down here, talking about the botulinum formation, trying to tell them like, hey guys, all of the information that I just told you about these bacteria, this is what the FDA was trying to tell this company, and the company was just like, whatevs. So now they have an injunction against them. So good on the FDA for catching that, because nobody wants to be sick with that kind of stuff. We have enough stuff to worry about without being worried about, companies that are supposed to be held up to a certain standard not doing their job. And it's very good to see the government doing their job, right? Okay, so thank you all for joining for these few stories. I'm trying to decide if we might come live again in the afternoon, because I have seen some other stories popping up that I might want to cover, but I might not, because of course it's Thanksgiving. So go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Daily Green Snips is our handle. I just realized I have 2 graphics over the top of each other up there. I'm sorry about that. At Daily Green Snips is our handle, and if you follow us on Twitter, you can see when we release out USDA alerts and notices, and we try to share when we're going live and things like that. And you can also find all of the sources, all of the stories that we talked about at thedailygreens.org in our blog section. There are a lot of other good resources on there and press releases that have not been talked about. So if you're an independent journalist or an alt media kind of group and you want some good information to cover, some good sources, go ahead and check that out. You can just take the stories and run with them. We are fine with that. And make sure, if you haven't already, to hit the subscribe button. That way you see whenever we release a video, and hit the notification bell that's next to it, because YouTube is not good about notifying people about channels going live, or even putting some of the videos into their subscription feed. So go ahead and hit that notification bell, and if you could, hit the thumbs up guy, because that always helps the algorithms to be able to promote actual information instead of just, MSM la-di-da that they keep talking about. So, and I know right now trending on Twitter is like Trump posted some kind of photoshopped Rocky picture, and so people are like, oh, that's so funny, or oh, that's so cool, and it's just like, yeah, that's great and all, and of course the news is going to jump on that and talk about it too, because why not? So let's try to promote some information around here, huh? And thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving. Make sure, as I said at the beginning, let me know if you have had any holiday mishaps yet, or if you have any, later on, come back and let me know. Comment them down below so I don't feel as weird or awkward about all of the mishaps that have already happened in our house today, which has been a little bonus. What happened that I made the mess with is I went to shake up the bottle of marinade seasoning for the turkey, and the lid wasn't screwed on all the way, so when I shook it, it just went splash all over the kitchen, and that was at like 5 o'clock this morning when I was putting the turkey in the oven. So that was fun to clean up. Yay! Fun times. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and let's put on some tunes while we get on out of here.